Dear Mom, I'm somewhere in the middle of the English Channel, and I think things are starting to look up. I believe that the war may be over soon, and the victory will be ours. Thanks for the letters and the packages you sent me. And yeah, I'm fine, with only minor injuries. Please let Lucy know that I love her, and her big brother's gonna be alright. And please, send my regards to Grandma, and tell her not to send me any cookies. They're gonna go bad. I'm deeply sorry for joining the army behind your back. I felt that if I were a Marine like Pop, then maybe he'd finally be proud of me. All I ever wanted to do was make him proud. And I hope that when I come home, things will be different. Please let my fiancée Julie know that I'm truly sorry for signing up. I mean, I wish nothing more than to love her and to comfort her. I realize that between her and I, there will be negative consequences. But I did what I had to do to serve my country in this time of need. And finally, please tell Pop that I love him. And that even though he and I might not connect like a father and son should, he's my dad. And regardless of what happens, he will always be my hero. Lots of love, Billy.
When I first heard Billy left, I was furious. How could he just run off like that without telling anyone? I didn't know where he was for the first 2 days, and neither did his family. I found out where he was on the second day he was missing from the grocer. I dropped my bag and everything was smashed. I remember thinking, if he will do this now, before we are married, what will he do when we are? The first letter he wrote softened my heart. I knew when I read it, he didn't want to hurt me. He hoped I'd love him more. Well, I did and I do.
Come home, come home, come home, come home, come home, come home. Come home. Come home.
When I first heard he'd left, my heart skipped a beat, and it hasn't quite got back in time since then. I heard it from the ladies gossiping at the parlor. Good news travels fast in a small town, and, well, bad news even faster. He's a good friend, a really good friend, and just because he doesn't know my love for him doesn't make it not true. It hit me like a ton of bricks, knocked the breath right out of me. I suspect I won't get it back until he is. Sam Keene said, "You come to love, not by finding the perfect person, but by seeing an imperfect person perfectly." Well, I did, and look at me now.
I know he's coming home. I can feel it. I know he's coming home. I can feel it. I know he's coming home. I can feel it.
When I heard that he left, I was speechless. I had so many questions to ask, but at the same time, my mind was blank. I found out my boy had gone to war for Mr. Adamson at the grocery store. I wasn't mad. The only thing that I was at that time was worried. Worried he didn't tell his own mother because he thought I would have hated him for his decision. Worried he'd get hurt. Worried he wouldn't make it. How could I tell my daughter that she might never see her brother again? But there was no might. If I had thought the might sin was when my husband went to war, I wouldn't have survived. But he made it back. Billy will be fine. He's a good boy. I'll see him soon.
He was always such a good boy. I should have seen this coming. He was always such a good boy. I should have seen this coming. He was always such a good boy. I should have seen this coming.
When I heard he had left, I was sad. Billy didn't even say goodbye to me. I sent him cookies because he always told me he loved my cookies. I didn't hear from him for months. And when he finally wrote back, he told me not to send cookies. Said they'd go bad. But I'm afraid Billy just doesn't want my cookies anymore. Why doesn't Billy want my cookies? What happened to the sweet young boy who loved my cookies?
When I first heard that Billy left for war, I didn't really understand what was going on. Mommy said that he would only be gone for a little while and that he'd be back before I knew it. He told me goodbye and said that he'd be back in time to beat up the first boy who breaks my heart, whatever that means. I miss my big brother. I miss how we used to play outside together and how he would always stick up for me. I don't really know what war is, but Daddy's stories don't make it sound all that fun. I wish he hadn't have left. I just hope that he doesn't get hurt and that he comes home soon.
William Johnson died January 14th, 1942, somewhere in France, while in combat.
When I first heard he was leaving, I was mad. Who wouldn't be? He left for war without telling his family. But I never thought something would happen. Not something like this. My wife says it's my fault, that I drove him away. That's not true. I'm not the one who chose to go to war. I'm not the one who got shot. I'm not the disrespectful one. All his life, that boy has done nothing but disrespect me. He's never tried to make me proud of him. Unless that's what he's doing? Does he think... Billy was never the strongest kid on the playground, but I always loved him. But how could he have known that? I never told him. And now I never will.